As anticipation builds for the paper, the upcoming spin-off of The Office, fans are wondering just how closely the new mockumentary will tie into its predecessor. While most of the Dunder Mifflin crew have seemingly closed their arcs, one unlikely and divisive character might be the link that holds both shows together. Brian the Boom Mic Guy. Introduced late in The Office's final season, Brian broke the mold by stepping out from behind the camera. His sudden appearance blurred the lines between documentary crew and subject, especially when he defended Pam from an aggressor and then became emotionally entangled in her rocky moment with Jim. It was a jarring development for fans who had always seen the crew as silent observers, but it also marked a shift in how The Office treated the relationship between the viewer, the characters, and the unseen documentarians. Now, the paper is ready to enter the mockumentary landscape, this time focusing on a struggling Ohio-based newspaper called The Truth Teller. Created by The Office mastermind Greg Daniels and Michael Coman of Nathan For You, the series moves away from paper sales and into the fast-eroding world of traditional journalism. But for all its fresh characters and new setting, the paper risks feeling disconnected from The Office unless it includes more than a thematic resemblance. That's where Brian could play a pivotal role. Brian, from villain to valuable link. Brian's appearance in The Office was brief, but memorable and polarizing. While some viewed him as a sympathetic figure, others saw his interactions with Pam as a needless interference in one of television's most beloved relationships. But what's often overlooked is that Brian was never meant to be just a love triangle foil. He represented the idea that the documentarians were human, with their own feelings, boundaries, and vulnerabilities. That's a concept the paper could build on in fascinating ways. If Brian returned, this time behind the boom mic at The Truth Teller, it would offer a clever in-universe explanation for the documentary continuity. Perhaps he's been given another chance, albeit with stricter rules about maintaining objectivity. And if history were to repeat itself, with Brian once again getting too involved with the subjects, it would be both darkly funny and thematically rich. The show could explore how the ethics of documentary filmmaking are constantly challenged in personal environments, especially in workplaces filled with chaos, crisis, and conflicting personalities. A necessary connection to the Office universe. While Oscar Martinez, played once again by Oscar Nunez, is officially confirmed to appear in the paper, his role is expected to be limited. As the only main cast member from The Office returning so far, Oscar provides a small but important thread connecting the two worlds. However, for longtime fans, one cameo isn't enough. Brian offers a chance to delve deeper into the unseen world behind The Office's cameras. He represents a shift in the mockumentary format, a reminder that even documentarians aren't immune to the messes they're filming. Giving Brian a second act in the paper wouldn't just tie the shows together, it would enrich the new one by expanding the ethical and emotional stakes behind the lens. The paper, a new setting with familiar bones. Starring Domhnall Gleeson and White Lotus standout Sabrina Impacciator, the paper shifts the setting to Toledo, Ohio. The story follows a dying local newspaper fighting to stay relevant in the age of clickbait and social media. The supporting cast includes Chelsea Free, Bemisola Accumulo, Melvin Gregg, Ramona Young, and Tim Key, promising a fresh ensemble ripe for comedic chemistry. Even with new faces and a different tone, the paper maintains the mockumentary structure that made The Office so iconic. But structure alone isn't enough. Without stronger narrative links, the paper may feel more like a spiritual cousin than a legitimate successor. Injecting a familiar, even controversial, character like Brian gives it more than just nostalgic value. It gives it depth and continuity. From chaos agent to character arc. Let's be clear, Brian was never a fan favorite. In fact, he was reviled by many for nearly disrupting the Jim and Pam fairy tale. But sometimes the most compelling characters aren't the most beloved. They're the ones who complicate the story. There's room for redemption, or at least exploration, in Brian's character. If the paper dares to take that risk, it could produce something far more interesting than a simple reboot or spiritual successor. Whether he becomes the bumbling repeat offender of documentary misconduct or undergoes real growth, Brian has the potential to be the paper's most unexpected secret weapon.